You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchardstown Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Darragh O'Connor on the...
Welcome to the Wrestling Rewind, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling.
Welcome to Phoenix 92.5 FM, the True Penny Channel, nerdtoknowmedia.com, and the WrestlingRewind.com. My name is Darragh O'Connor. You are listening to the only wrestling podcast that you need to be listening to. That's a lie, though. There's loads of great podcasts, but our one is more hilarious and more funny, which is the important thing. And of course, we don't hate wrestling, although I do hate Cody Rhodes. As I said, my name is Darragh O'Connor, and I am not alone. I'm joined by the one, the only, Mr. 1-0, Martin Hardy. How are things, Martin?
Grand. This is the only podcast featuring Darragh and Martin.
That's it. That's it. There's no other. There's no other. It's
so annoyed if there is like another wrestling podcast with a Darragh and Martin on it.
Well, okay, we're V1 anyway. They're V2.
V1, yeah. That's it. We're V1. They're broken.
They're broken or damaged. You know what? Why can't we have damaged Cody Rhodes? You know, I'm so annoyed, right? And I'm going to start here. I'm so annoyed that like Cody Rhodes is like probably going to main event WrestleMania. I hope he doesn't. I hope he gets like injured in some way that he can't wrestle, but not ruins his life.
I thought you were going to say like, I hope he picks Seth, but no, I hope he gets run over.
No. That makes me sound horrible, right? Because I'm not a monster, right? Just like he sprains an elbow or something. He's like, oh no, I'm going to miss the show, and then you have to bring in someone good. Because I mean, like my big thing when he won was, oh god, I'm going to have to like leave the arena and go to concession stand or
in the main event,
and I don't want to do that because I mean that's horrible. So I mean, for me, Cody, could you like maybe get a little injured, just a bit, just nothing long term?
He mightn't have to. What do you think are the actual chances that he picks Seth Rollins?
I don't care who he picks. I don't want him there. Period. I want him just gone.
No, but at least if he picked Seth, it wouldn't be the main event.
Yeah, see, it's more the case that, like, I don't know. See, here's the thing, right? All joking aside, and again, guys, we are joking. I do hate Cody Rhodes, but I don't wish injury on him. I just don't want to see him. You know, if there's a thing that have you seen Black Mirror?
Oh yeah.
Do you know that episode where you can like block people with the headset?
Oh yeah, like from real life.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like WWE should make that. Like, you know, just give you a headset and you just block out the wrestlers you don't like.
That's gotta be only so many years away. Like that.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah, I mean,
that's definitely coming.
Oh, it absolutely is. So the brain chip is a real thing now. So
$9.99 a month. There is 100% people I would just block from real life.
See, I just be like, you know,
they come up and talk to you, and you just have like a vacant stare, like you're looking at the wall behind them.
Or the blue dot, you know the Vince McMahon thing where
over Christian.
I just love that for Cody Rhodes, where it's just a blue dot, and you know, or if he's just Stardust, it's right there. Why can't they just make him Stardust? I don't understand. Martin, can you tell me why they won't give me Stardust?
Well, we talked about this last week. It's like it's possible he's in the DLC for the latest WWE game as Stardust. So it's not.
But there is a main event talent right there.
I think it would be if he does actually pick Seth Rollins. I think it would be possibly like the latest in a long line of things that either Cody has done or had done to him that just make me laugh from morning to night. Because like 2 years talking about finishing the story and pointing at Reigns and the Universal title and all this stuff, and then suddenly Rollins gives him a speech and he just changes his entire 2-year quest.
No, I mean, look, okay. So some people here are probably love the story. All right. I don't understand, and I don't mean to go on a rant here, but I am. We haven't done a rant in a long time, you know.
But at least a week.
It's at least a week. No, I mean, it's been a very emotional week, Martin. It really has. I mean, a lot's happened this week, and we'll talk about it. I mean, I have a list here. I mean, literally before we went on the air, we were talking about a running order, and I have Rumble, sad face. That's my notes, right? So I'm not a happy guy. I'm really not. I'm actually quite upset. And how did we go from, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin, hero of the working man, The Rock, the people's champion, Batista, powerbombing people, the game, to I want to finish my story.
To Cody and possibly Seth.
No. I mean, leave Seth alone for a second, right? But I want to finish my story. That's the lamest thing I have ever heard in my life. So why do you want to win the title? Because I want to finish my story. I'm like, okay, cool.
Because his dad never won it.
That doesn't mean anything. I mean, I don't know your dad.
Yeah. My dad never got kicked by a cow, but like,
there you go. It's just, I just cannot understand it. I mean, I've gone back and we used to watch WCW. Dusty Rhodes was there. Yeah, okay, cool. He danced around in the weird suit in WWE, and it was like, okay. I'm sure he was a big deal to wrestlers.
What's actually kind of funny about this whole thing is that you have Cody talking about Dusty Rhodes finishing the story because his dad never did it, but WWF or WWE is the one place his dad was never taken seriously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
His dad
it doesn't
was
make any
serious concern everywhere else he went.
Yes. Yeah, like that's the thing. I mean, the story itself doesn't make any sense. In WCW, I was okay. He was a big deal up until a point, and then he was fighting in the back of a van as it was speeding down the motorway in 2000. But look, 2000. We've done WCW.
Wait, was that Dusty or was that Dustin?
That was Dusty.
Dusty, all right. What was it called? That the Highway to Hell was.
Highway to Hell, yeah. And Dustin was being Sin. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And Dustin had some. Dusty had some matches in TNA, which were pretty good as well. So you're right.
He's big in the NWA,
and he was big in ECW as well. The only place he wasn't taken seriously is the WWE. And it's funny. It's like, okay, if you want to finish your story so bad, you know where he should have finished the story, and he booked himself out of it. AEW.
AEW, yeah.
It's like AEW is
kind of the spiritual successor to WCW.
It is. It's literally WCW. In all its forms. You whatever show you're watching is like a different era of WCW. If you want to watch your 2000, you can have it there. If you want to watch the good stuff, it's there. If you want to watch, and that's actually kind of cool. It's funny how that's actually worked out. But if he actually wanted to finish this story, which is I hate that, right? Should have done it in AEW because that's where his dad would have won the belt.
Well, like even not only was he not a big concern in WWF really, when he wasn't there, when he was a big concern in other places, WWF was like taking the mick out of him. Like, did they invent Hakeem, the African Dream, as a way of mocking Dusty Rhodes?
Oh my God, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably. So it's just. I don't know. I just find it very disingenuous, or the greatest heel character just waiting to happen. It's like a bell movement, right? Cody Rhodes is like a bell movement, and it just needs to move, and it'll have the best one ever, right? But he won't. He's just holding there, so he's clenching, and that's what every time I see Cody Rhodes, that's what goes through my head. I'm like, you're a bell movement waiting to happen. In other words, you're a heel turn waiting to happen.
I always thought that he was, before he left AEW, that he was on the verge of
The greatest heel turn ever. Yeah.
Greatest heel turn in generations. Like he was
Yeah.
going to keep up this I think I'm the good guy character. He was going to renege on his promise to not go for the world title. He was going to get more smarmy and more like solving racism, and
Remember when he did that?
He was probably going to have a match with a tree and end climate change. Like he was gonna, like I thought he was on the verge of the most amazing heel turn ever, and like we say, for whatever reason, he won't do it.
I just don't understand it. I mean, I never took Cody Rhodes in any other way other than being a heel. He is the perfect heel. But I feel like everyone has the like mass psychosis where they're like, oh, he's brilliant. He's the best face of WWE. I'm like, he's not though. I mean, and I guess I'm going back because I've listened to some older shows where I kind of said similar things about John Cena. And I mean, I still think I was right. Cena is a great actor. As a wrestler, not so much. And he was really good as a heel. And it's just basically my question is, Martin, is this just not for us? And if not, when? I mean, because it's grown adults that I'm seeing loving Cody Rhodes, like older than me, and I'm like, what is it? The whoa? Do you like whoa? Is that what it is?
No, I mean,
I like that too.
We all know what it is. Like it's because he came over from AEW.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Is that why grown men love Cody Rhodes? Because that's a bit.
But that's why the real diehard Fed fans love him, because he's the guy. He was the first one to like make the move in that direction.
Martin, no, come on, I don't believe
he was
that.
High up, like he wasn't just an AEW guy. He was like the AEW. He was like one of the elite, one of the founders, and he made the move. And they took this as like a big victory over AEW, a big endorsement of WWE. Like if you listen to some of the fans, the way they talk, like they hate AEW, they don't watch it. Everyone in AEW is crap. If that was true,
that's not true either. That's not true.
No, it's not. But if that was true, what should have happened when Cody Rhodes showed up is either A, nobody should have recognized him, or B, they should have been like, where's the, like you say, where's Stardust, or where's the...
That's what I've been saying.
But they all knew him from his AEW character. So
yeah,
like,
it's the exact
I think
same
that's
character.
why he's so over in WWE.
Oh, you're probably right. I mean, look, if that's the case and you're listening to this show, one, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. But also, come on, guys. Come on. By having that behavior, it means we're not getting Stardust. And I'm disappointed in that. Disappointed. Look, if he comes out and even a Stardust half the time, totally cool. It's the... I don't know.
What if we got Cody on Raw and Stardust on SmackDown?
Perfect. Or even if he just hangs out a Stardust sometimes. I mean,
actually, Stardust is more. You'd probably get Dashing on SmackDown. Stardust would be more of an NXT type thing.
Well, Dashing is cool. I mean, look, it's the same problem I think with WWE white meat babyfaces, right? They reach a point where they're just kind of there. There is no character. The character is, oh, I'm a good guy. I'm a good person. And that's not a character. It's it happened with Cena as well. I used to say it a lot with John Cena where, he went from being a rapper to being a soldier to being like John Cena wins LOL, right? And
was he ever actually in the military?
No, he wasn't. I mean, Randy Orton was, and then it kind of got a bit sketchy. But no,
he got dishonorably discharged, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he deserted apparently. But apparently, I don't really know. That's what the story is. But
I know Sergeant Slaughter used to get in a bit of trouble because he was never in the military. Just like not in any way. It wasn't even in like the National Guard or.
But I don't even know how Cena like came up with that, because it happened so like naturally where he was a rapper and then just kind of became, no, I think it's because he was in the Marine and then he just started like doing military things. but he never really had a character. And I think the same thing's happened with Cody Rhodes. I mean, what is his character? I can't. There isn't like he showed like he wants to. Okay, let's do it this way. He wins at WrestleMania and finishes his story. Then what's his character?
Well, like we say, he has issues with turning heel. So
No, hold on. But what's his character? Where do you go from there? You're right. He's writing himself into a box. Like, okay, when Triple H was, doing his first heel run, his main thing was he was obsessed with the belt. He just wanted to win the belt, and he would go through anybody to remain WWE World Champion because he's a psychopath, right? That's an incredible character and tells you everything you need to know. He's going to go through everybody. He's going to do whatever it takes to win, and all he cares about is that belt, right? That makes sense. Austin, he wants to fight Vince and overcome him and become the world champion and
drink beer.
And drink beer, right? That makes sense. The Rock's the people's champion. A narcissist, believe he owns the belt, right? Would do anything to win the belt, corporate champion, all that kind of stuff, right? That makes sense. Cody, I want to finish. Okay, you've won it. Then what? Then you go home? Because I mean, when you're gonna if finishing your story, to me, and again, I'm just one person. When you finish something, it means you finished it. It's done. So when he wins the belt and finishes the story,
what's the bet? He comes out on the Raw after Mania and says like, "I guess it's time to start a new chapter."
Oh, that's so lame. It could happen. Yeah,
it's a type of thing he'd do.
But I mean, it's so stupid. It's like, listen, if it's not like he said, "I want to continue the story, continue my father's story." Makes way more sense, right?
Well, that'd be great if he does. Like, if he wins the title at Mania, and then, oh yeah, I did it. Yeah, gets up on the turnbuckle, waves to the crowd, holds the belt aloft, and then when his music's finished playing, he just lays the belt down in the ring. just goes home, takes his boots off.
No, but I mean that
was all I wanted to do.
I mean, but that's kind of what they're setting up for, right? Where it's like, because to me, when you finish something, it's done. Like, okay, well, that's not what that means. It's like you can't just, and it's not even like he's been saying it for a little while. He's been saying it 2 years. It's like you can't just do it. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And look, I defy anybody who's a massive Cody Rhodes fan in WWE to be like, he's great, awesome. Please tell me, what's the new email that we have, Martin? The Wrestling Rewind NTK at gmail.com.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So if you want to email us, you can. You can also go to the wrestlingrewind.com and all the links are there. Tell me why you like Cody Rhodes. I want to know. I really do. This isn't a bit. I will bring you on the show. So you can tell me why you like him, because I genuinely don't know.
And
can't do it.
Just be careful with that, folks. It'll be like a kind of a hostile, less an interview and more a kind of interrogation.
Well, just shining the light. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But look, so we do have a lot to get to this week. There was so much news. It was wild, Martin. The news just does not stop here. And you know what?
It's mad. And do you know what's weird? Because I feel like the past 2 years, I feel like every week we've been saying, "Oh my God, what a bloody insane week!" Because even last week we were talking about, it's crazy how much has happened. And now, in the space of the last week, WWE have gone from on top of the world, multi-billion-dollar deal with Netflix, the biggest selling Royal Rumble ever. Their main event, they're talking about having The Rock, and within a week, all that's gone. CM Punk is injured. The Rumble, we'll review it later, but I don't know what you thought, but I didn't think it was great.
Rumble, sad face.
The Rumble, sad face.
Sad face.
And the bloody allegations with Vince McMahon that have now gone federal.
So
it's like an actual criminal case, like jail time. Now we're looking at it. It's wild.
So for our radio fans, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. But sometimes we have to cut stuff from the radio for obvious reasons. Last week was one of them. So if you listen to the show just on the radio, thank you so much. But you probably missed a lot of what we talked about last week because I decided to cut in a segment all about Relic, which is killer spelled backwards, in the middle of it because of how much detail we go into about these allegations.
And like we weren't even like being funny with it, right? And it's
no,
just
we're just reading them.
The detail on its own is that horrific.
Yeah, so if you want to listen, it's up on the podcast, on the feed. You can go and check it out. And again,
you really want a good, miserable evening.
Yeah, and sometimes we do, sometimes that happens. So the shows are different sometimes for that reason. But so look, we'll start there. We'll start with the Vince McMahon update, I suppose, and it's not a bit or a joke because you can't really joke about this stuff. It is.
No,
it's more shocking as it goes on. Like we do this show, we are a comedy wrestling podcast, but Jesus, I mean, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And the update now, Martin, is, as you said, this is going to be a federal case. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. So previously, what was happening was McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE itself were being sued. It was a civil case by Janela Grant, but obviously the FBI have been watching this, and I think the case might have been going ahead beforehand, but this has obviously pushed it into the public limelight. They're now pursuing a federal criminal case against Vince. Now it's just against Vince so far. It's not like the civil case where the WWE itself is being taken in. But there's a lot of concern that what comes out in the trial, even if it doesn't lead to other people being tried, could lead to Endeavour deciding that they need to clean up and getting rid of a lot of influential people, including your own number one, not bully, I suppose, but your number one guy, Trips, could be in a bit of bother. Not that there's allegations against him, but just that because he's been kind of Vince's right-hand man for so long that Endeavour might decide that they just want a clean slate and get rid of anyone who has any connection.
They might, but the only thing on that is him and Stephanie and Tony Khan vote against him.
Nick Khan.
Nick Khan, did I say Tony? Sorry, Nick Khan. I'm sure Tony Khan did vote against him, but yeah, I mean,
but that might not be enough anymore. Like I say, it all depends on what comes out in this case.
The thing about it is there has been no allegations.
No. Like nobody's suggesting that there's anything against Triple H or Stephanie McMahon or anything like that personally against them. It's that Endeavour apparently have taken over companies before, and they don't take this stuff lightly at all. Like they're
can't.
I mean, their modus operandi is to come in and just sort of clean the whole slate.
Yeah, and they might. I mean, the thing about it is, it's like, from what I was reading, I wouldn't expect it to be that deep of a cut based on the fact that, what has happened where they voted against him, they did try to get him out, blah, blah, blah. But there are people there that would be known as Vince loyalists. Yeah. I do expect them to be gone. And I do expect them, I expect a lot of, again, we don't know, but just from what the Observer has been saying, from different sources, really, it seems like there are two distinct lines, if you want. There's people who may or may not have known and voted to get Vince out. There's people who knew and stuck with Vince. And Endeavour's problem here is, it is like, are you just going to get rid of both? And from what you're saying, Endeavour's choice here really is, are you just going to not even bother with that and just wipe that slate completely?
Just get rid of everyone.
Get rid of everybody, which they could do. Or maybe just go with
we've already, and this wasn't an Endeavour decision. This would have been Triple H and whoever else in the creative side of it. But Brock Lesnar he was removed from the Rumble, and he's now been removed from all WrestleMania plans, all future plans of any kind.
And all of his merch is 99% off.
Is 99% off?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh, wow.
So if you wanted a Brock Lesnar shirt, which I mean is probably bad luck right now, you can get it 99% off. Yeah.
Now's the time. Yeah. Like walking around in a Chris Benoit t-shirt in the noughties.
Some people did.
Yeah. Oh, it was a real.
Some people did. I mean,
thing to do.
Yeah, there's, but yeah, I mean, this is an ongoing situation. It's as we're saying, like we're recording this here on Friday, the 3rd of February. Just gone the 3rd of February, and there will be updates. Like the minute we finish recording, there will be updates.
Yeah, and this is pure speculation. Like,
yeah,
no one will know until the actual trial starts and people start being like subpoenaed and compelled to testify. And we've already seen it with John Laurinaitis.
He's come out and said he was a victim. Yeah,
he's turned on McMahon. He's come out and said he's as much a victim as Janela Grant, which I think is maybe pushing it a wee bit far. Yeah, look, maybe not, John. Maybe you weren't.
Maybe not Johnny Ace. Maybe not. But look, as I said, we try to boil this down for you guys when we can. We obviously tape on a Friday, but there are certain things that just will come out before the next show. So we'll keep you updated. But that's where it is right now.
I'll tell you what might blow back on Stephanie if she's trying to get back on the board will be those thank you Vince chants she led whenever he retired in ridiculously oversized comical quotation marks.
Yeah, look, the thing about wrestling is weird. WWE is even more weird. Again, look, as soon as Twitter discovers the Attitude Era, everyone is done.
One of our this is almost like one of our slogans here, that when Twitter discovers the Attitude Era, it's over. But that might be happening. So Tori Wilson did an interview with Chris Van Vliet during the week, and she went into great detail about how like loads of the divas during the Attitude Era, they hated the bikini competitions, the brand
I saw this
matches.
Yeah, I saw this.
Like they were in tears, like having to do this stuff. They were really put under pressure to do it. Like it is starting to get mainstream attention. So we could we could be heading towards what we've always warned about.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obvious when you go back and look at this. And I mean, like when we cover old shows, we cover them as they are and give context. And it's just like, how is this just not being exposed for what it was? Some of it's abhorrent.
Some of it's wild. So like really it's not even like on its own it would be bad enough, but some of the commentary that accompanies it is just. I mean,
we make a lot of accurate references to the character Mark Madden.
Yeah. The legally
distinct character as presented on commentary, and then there's Jerry Lawler, who, the whole you never know what you're going to get with Jerry Lawler when he's on commentary. It could be grand, or it could be something.
Could be the sort of cheeky jokester. Could be the creepy uncle. You never know.
Exactly, you never really know. So
which way it's gonna go.
But that doesn't shock me. I mean, I can't believe it took them. How long's Twitter around? Well, like 15 years?
Easily, yeah.
I'm just like, whoa, you just discovered the WWE network now, did you? Oh, well, okay. Strap in. It's going to be a good time. You're gonna hear a lot.
I bet you can see them now going through the network just frantically, like deleting every like before they go to Netflix, every brand panties match gone, ballroom match gone, Edge and Lita's live lovemaking session, get that off.
That's all gone. I will make a reference to it, but I'm not going to explain what it is. HLA.
Yeah,
That's a segment that's probably
It's
going to
LA
capture
Cup.
them. We're not going to
In
get
fact,
into what that is, folks.
old
So you probably
episodes
remember
of
what it is.
Raw, like
That was
by
on
the
Raw,
ti-
yeah.
by the time they put the old episodes of Raw on Netflix, when this deal goes through, future generations will be watching it and going, "God, Raw used to only be 15 minutes long." It's like, no, it's 2 hours. They just had to cut out a lot of stuff.
They're like, yeah, all of it's gone. It's like what a Raw from 1999 is like 5
6
minutes.
minutes long with ads.
It's just an ad for Chef Boyardee, and that's it. That's all it is.
It's just Mankind on his pasta. And
That was a weird episode of
then a
Raw where it was
Bulldog
just
match.
Mankind with pasta, yeah. But yeah, look, I mean, that doesn't shock me. It just shocks me that it took so long. But speaking of which, the WWE Network, bringing to a point that we didn't talk about last week because it didn't happen. The WWE Network's gone away.
Yeah.
Like, this is the last year of the WWE Network.
Yeah, globally, like for
Globally, yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So obviously US fans have been without it for a couple of years now. It is, and like any long-term listeners will know, I'm not shy when it comes to criticizing, particularly the corporate business side of WWE. But the network is, if you're a wrestling fan, phenomenal value.
It's really
absolutely
is. Really is.
Like I say, I have the network and I don't even watch WWE anymore. It's just such a treasure trove. It's $9.99 a month. Like you know, if you're not really hard up at all, like you forget about it altogether. You know, it's the one massive loss.
It's the one streaming service I do not mind paying for.
No, because there's so much to it. Like like you're not just talking about your pay-per-views. You're talking about all the old WWE, WWF stuff, all the old WCW stuff, all your old ECW stuff. They've got a smattering of different territories and different indies there, and you know, you've got all the other programs. Most of them kind of crappy, like the different interviews shows they do, but some of them quite good, like the Stone Cold Sessions is on it. You know, it's pretty good.
But I mean, the upside of that is, like, as I said last week, it is just all held in an AWS bucket somewhere. So they're not deleting it. They're just going to move it from one AWS bucket to another.
Could we steal this bucket and put it on our website as part of the Rennet Patreon tier? So don't give WWE $9.99 a month. Give us a Rennet, which is tenor backwards. And we'll load the entire network into a bucket and send it up to you.
No, the only thing we can promise when it comes to our Patreon tier, the Rennet tier, is we will write you a backwards letter.
Absolutely.
Martin will write it for you. Handwritten.
Backwards letter.
So if you want to go over to our Patreon, and thank you for bringing it up, Martin, we have 3 distinct tiers. We have the X-Pac Euro, the legally distinct Bookilly list, and the Rennet tier. And
Darragh, that kind of brings us into another issue we had to talk about. One of our tiers has actually gone because previously we had the Punk Penny tier, which was you would pay us. So before Punk showed up in WWE, the Punk Penny tier was you'd pay us a penny every day until Punk showed up somewhere else, and then he did. But now that he's shown up, the Punk Penny tier changed to you pay us a penny every day until Punk either storms out in a huff or gets injured. And he's gotten injured. So
see here,
what's that? We make about 70 pence off that, did we?
See, here's the thing, right? He is backstage on SmackDown at the moment.
That's true.
So
are you still of the belief this is an angle?
No. Here's the thing. I realize what I'm doing here, because this is like
this is what I did.
This is what you did, right? And then I'm gonna lay this out, and then all you can say is "for Punk," right? So
I watched Brawl Out going, my God, this is the best angle. This is the best promo they've done in ages. This angle's amazing. He's setting up like so many feuds.
You see, this is the problem with Punk. You never really know if it's real or not, right? And it usually is real.
Do you know what Punk is? He's the anti Eddie Kingston. So Eddie Kingston gets in the ring and he thinks what's happening in the ring is real. Punk thinks what's happening backstage and on the mic is real. So
that's true.
He's the anti Eddie Kingston.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, I'll put it this way. I don't believe Punk is out of WrestleMania.
In a wrestling capacity.
No. He will be at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe he's injured, right? I mean, a tricep injury, thankfully, I've never had it. It doesn't look fun. He's had it before. You know, there is a belief, and it's probably true, that Punk was supposed to win the Rumble, and they called an audible. That seems realistic to me. Because in the fact that the mess around the main events now it's caused, where it's like, okay, we didn't plan for this. And Punk was like, look, I'm just gonna let Cody have it. So I do believe he is injured, but I don't think Punk won't be there. I think Punk will be at WrestleMania. He absolutely will.
100% he'll be there, but like he'll be there commentating
or hosting or doing an angle. And here's the thing, I'm going to be honest with you, Martin, right? That's kind of what I want from Punk. I don't like, because I mean, when he wrestles, he gets injured. He just banjacks himself super easy. Really? And the sad part about it is I think he had to realize his promo was phenomenal on Raw. But I think he's maybe realized that it's like those 10 years that he spent being better.
Probably should have went and wrestled somewhere. You know, where it's just like you literally the prime of your career where you could have actually built that legacy. Probably should have went back and been like the biggest indie star in the world. Or
even just been like, right, you know, went back and did the WWE turn sooner, or, you know, whatever, or stayed in AEW or whatever. I think he's realized that those 10 years have actually caused, or then even maybe going to the UFC, all the training in the UFC and stuff like, because that stuff it takes its toll, you know.
Well, maybe he's had 4 injuries in 13 matches. Now, remember, the last part of his AEW run was mostly, apart from the Samoa Joe match, which we saw live,
which we did,
still might have been his last televised wrestling match that we saw.
By the way, thank you so much for that. For anyone that doesn't know, the only reason I was there is because of Martin.
Oh yeah,
the only reason. So thank you so much, Martin.
I'm a regular saint.
Absolutely.
But so setting that aside, of the last 13 matches he's had, the most of them have been like multi-mans, tag matches, stuff where, you know, it's not as big a toll on the body as a one-on-one match, and he still managed to get injured 4 times in the last 13 matches. Like,
those odds are genuinely horrendous. I mean, look, either he does the one match a year, like The Undertaker, which, I mean, that makes sense to me.
You couldn't even put him in an angle in the run up to Mania because he's so injury prone.
He's made of glass, like, and it's
like, how do you get injured in the Rumble? Like, the Rumble's the easiest match there is.
Well, I mean, did you get injured getting out of bed, like, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I was in Canada. Now, to be fair, I was working in underground pipes at the time, but I messed up my back. And whenever anyone would ask, I would say it was I was working in like a real low hanging pipe and I had to shovel it out. But what really happened was I just stepped off the curb crossing the road one day in a weird way, and my back just went, bye. See ya.
See ya.
Good luck.
Oh,
I won't be back. It can happen.
Yeah, but the thing of it is like when he has that level of injury, like, I would blame WWE on this because they should have been like, okay, looking at your AEW run, you've been injured this amount of times. We'll just have you talking, and you can talk as much garbage as you want from here to here. You're working WrestleMania season, and that's it, right? That's what I would have done. I would have been like, right,
Yeah. Well,
Punk.
that was like, I mean, like, that sounds like that was the plan, because he showed up. Don't forget, he showed up in November,
November,
and the Royal Rumble at the end of January is the first time we've seen him in the ring.
Yeah.
And I would say he was going to do the Royal Rumble, and then he probably wouldn't have had another match until Mania.
That's probably, yeah, but I mean, like, looking ahead now, right? If WWE are going to use him in this way, I think the only way you use Punk really is he wrestles once a year at WrestleMania, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you haven't come out talk, because that's Punk's biggest appeal is the promo, is talking.
Yeah,
You know-
but like at some stage, like, the promos are great, that's fine, but at some stage you have to back them up.
Yeah, once a year.
It's a bit of a, I mean, like I say, if he's only showing up at WrestleMania season, if he's only showing up,
Because they need, go with me here for a second, right? They don't have an Undertaker to be this attraction once a year. If you make Punk that attraction, you're right, okay, everyone's going to make Gansy loads of money. Doesn't really matter if he gets hurt because he has a full year to recover.
yeah, get there and put him in an exploding ring, barbed wire death match.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. He can kind of do whatever he wants and has the full year to go around. And then, honestly, as silly as it sounds, it's not that silly because he is getting up. It just shows you how much his body actually went through. Like, his body is falling apart around
I
him.
think it lends credence to my theory, and again, I freely admit that I am not a Punk fan, but I don't say this out of like slagging or spite or anything. I think a big part of the reason he blew up his AEW contract was because he just couldn't hack the pace and the style in AEW. You know, like, it's so much more in-ring focused than WWE. Like, you couldn't show up in AEW in November and coming into February still not have had a match, you know?
Yeah, it would be too difficult to do it. But I mean, he could do it. Like,
It's like you say, it's just a different style of.
it's a different
just different
style. I mean,
presentation.
like, with Collision, I think he found his way around it with the multi-man matches, and
Yeah,
maybe that's why it was
people
booked that
really
way.
getting tired
Or
of them, you know?
yeah, but look, it is what it is. I mean, I think he knew, he has that awareness of what's going on. Again, WWE should have had this awareness to be like, we know what he's like, we know but again, maybe they were like, oh my god, let's just make sure he doesn't go off on a mad one first.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, his body's in bits too.
Maybe they're
Okay,
like,
well,
stick him in the Rumble. You couldn't possibly get injured in the Rumble. Throw him in it.
they learn, and the thing is, this is a multi-year investment. I would say, look, with Punk being the way that he is now, that's the way I would do it. I'd be like, look, he works, makes an appearance at the Rumble, talks garbage for 3 months, 4 months, has a match on WrestleMania, and that's it. And here's the thing, like, could be for a belt, could be for no belts, doesn't really matter. Punk is kind of beyond the belt at this point. He really is. Like, he doesn't need it. I mean, he could walk out with the real world champion. That'd be hilarious. But
Punk's match at WrestleMania every year could be a bit like, do you know when a plane's coming in to land and they don't have their landing gear, so they line the runway with ambulances and fire engines and stuff? Punk's one match a year could be like that. They could have the St. John's ambulances just lying on the runway, ready to scoop him out.
But the thing about it is, it's like, I mean, if that's your gig, that's not a bad gig. And the thing about it is, that's where I'd be going. I'd be like, look, whoever's booking at this point, they should be like, we can make serious bank on this guy the entire year, but people want to see him at Mania, and that's what you need to do. So if nothing else, they've learned from this.
whatever Punk's paid on his contract, and I'm sure it's big money, I'd say they've already made it back in t-shirt sales alone. So.
Oh man, I have bought a hoodie, I have bought a long sleeve, I have bought the return, and I haven't even finished yet. I'm already like gung ho. Like he's and I say he's at Mania. He will be at Mania. Mark my words.
Yes.
And I'll probably buy more CM Punk. The only wrestling merch I have bought this year, right, or in past couple of years, an NWO shirt, and CM Punk shirts from AEW and WWE. That's it. That's it.
I have to say I did find it a little bit difficult when news of the injury came through to control my Schadenfreude, but I was genuinely sad for yourself and Dave, because like it's a big deal to go and to see your favorite wrestlers live, and particularly at WrestleMania. And it's an opportunity. Like even with Dave, he's living in the US. It's an opportunity you only get so many times in your life, and sure for us here in Ireland, like it's even less then. So I was genuinely sorry for yourself and Dave, but like you say, he'll be there.
Yeah, but then again, I did already get to see him have a match far superior to any match you'd see anywhere else with Samoa Joe.
Bloody good match as well.
So I mean,
that was a great match.
That was a phenomenal match, and it was an opener, which was even more bizarre. But now we know why. But like, what I'd say is, look, Punk not being there would have sucked. It would have put a damper on it. But the fact that he probably will be there anyway, that's fine. I mean, look, everyone wants to. You just want the pop, right? That's all.
Yeah.
You just want the pop. He comes out. Hopefully, he doesn't hurt himself getting into the ring, which would be, I mean, how bad is it? Like, how in bits are you? Punk,
the original idea for Mankind was that he would be led to the ring, like basically wheeled down in one of those Hannibal Lecter, like do the wheelbarrow they used to have Hannibal Lecter tied into. Yeah, so Mankind would be wheeled down to the ring in it, and his manager would like open it and run away. They could do something like that for Punk, except it's a cotton wool. He's like an Amazon package. He's just wrapped in loads of cotton wool and crumpled paper and stuff, and then they let him out.
Look, I don't know how you like. It is concerning. I mean, when your job is to go in and fall down.
Oh, he's got to be.
That's bad.
He's got to be looking at this going, 4 injuries in 13 matches. I have to change this. Look again. The final point on this is, if I'm booking this, if I like, CM Punk is a massive draw. No, as I said, look, I can't even help myself. I can't. I'm going to buy more merch. It's just going to happen, right? And I already know this, and it just is what it is. I just can't help myself, right? But if I'm booking this show, and I'm like, right, we have Punk, who's a massive draw, like genuine massive draw. You have to use him correctly. And how you use him correctly is he works once a year, and that's it. He shows up on Raw once a month, but it's only to flog his latest limited edition t-shirt.
That I buy. That's it. He just show up, say some words, flog a t-shirt, do commentary, whatever, have a vignette or something, have a backstage. There's other things he can do. He doesn't have to be as mysterious as Taker, because obviously Taker's gimmick is the gimmick, and then that's it. Punk can still probably go in the ring, and his match, like the Rumble performance was quite good, but he got injured. So if you're working with that going right, at least you'll get the match out of him.
He did, but even before he was injured, he was
gassed.
Yeah,
man. Like,
But like here, ring fitness, and I like whenever I bring up in-ring stuff from experience, it's not like letting on that I was a big-time wrestler, and I was not. I was very much a trainee in an Irish indie and never got very far. But ring fitness is absolutely a thing. The amount of people who I saw come into wrestling, that come into training the first couple of times, who are incredibly fit people, really fit, really strong, maybe they come from other sports or whatever, and get into the ring and see once they start bouncing off those ropes.
Yeah.
gassed in 2 minutes. It's just a completely different type of fitness, and the
Oh,
only way to keep it is to do it.
I'd believe it. I mean, look, I've never had a match. I fought competitively, and stuff like that, and sparring like 2 minutes is a long time.
Oh, it's
so
unbelievably long.
But and there is a point when you're just absolutely exhausted, and that's 2 minutes. I
think it's partly
fitness.
For me, it's partly down to the ropes, because it's.
I believe it. Yeah,
you come off them. Running slightly faster than you're able to run, and it does.
Then the wind is getting knocked out of you as well.
Oh yeah, every time you land on your back, it's a totally different kind of fitness. And like you say, even if Punk for 10 years was training every day, running every day, in the gym every day, if you're not wrestling, you just don't have ring fitness.
Yeah, and look, and that's it. I mean, I've seen people who run a lot or whatever, and then you go in and you fight them and they're completely gassed, and you're just like, how are you more, it just doesn't make sense. And then I'd imagine in the ring, because it is that level again where it has these different factors, the ropes, taking bumps, and then just actually getting, doing a physical activity. There are these different elements that people just may not know.
See, even getting to the ring, because so much of it is character, like you have to come down and you have to be...
Didn't that happen when you were at WrestleMania, when they were totally destroyed?
Oh my God, yeah, you have to come down to the ring, like shouting and cheering and screaming and cheering out. Like, you get into the ring, you're bloody wrecked.
Oh yeah, I believe it. And the thing about it is, like, Punk, the last match he had was at All In, right? And that was, what, August? So August, September.
Yeah, he had that house show with with
Dominic Mysterio.
But I've seen fan camera footage of it, and it was very house show. Like, the two of them just went out and arsed about,
So let's say, right, August, September, October, November, December, January. That's 6 months. That's 6 months. That's a long time. That's half a year of, and I was watching the thing he did, because they were filming the whole time. He was in NXT training with the lads, and he looked pretty good. And I went back and watched the match again. It looks like he got injured on DDT from Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. So, like, even that's that worrying. See, that would indicate that it's maybe the issue he has there is a recurring issue.
Yeah, because wasn't it the same? Was it the same tricep that blew out last time? Yeah,
like, maybe that's because he didn't particularly come down on top of it or anything like that. Maybe that's just like just something he's prone to.
They might have to just tape it up every time he goes out.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was able to finish
the match.
Thing,
oh yeah, so. But like, look, I don't know. It's, if I was, again, just because we are almost at time here for the radio, but if I was looking at this, whoever's booking WWE at the point, you're like, look, either we figure out what is going on and he takes some time to actually figure this out, or it's once a year. And that's the only smart thing. Because here's the thing, like, I mean, I bought tickets for WrestleMania to go see CM Punk wrestle. That's the truth of it, right?
Yeah.
I went to All In to see Punk wrestle, right? That's it. Right? They are true statements. But I'm less sad because he will be there still. But again, like, I'm probably not the only one that bought tickets for WrestleMania to go see CM Punk wrestle.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
And I know they're like, oh, card is subject to change. It's like, absolutely. But
if you were the only one who bought a ticket to WrestleMania to see CM Punk wrestle, they have massively overpaid for his contract.
Absolutely. And
so look, like, no. We need Darragh there this year. We're going to give you $3 million a year.
But here's the thing. They're probably aware that, yeah, okay, as a wrestler,
that horrenda rub.
But yeah, like, they have to, this is the problem they're going to have to solve. Because, like, obviously, like, they have Punk locked into a contract here.
Yeah.
They have the whole morality clause on it. So he doesn't want to go. They just have to figure a way how to actually use him and his body not collapse.
Amputate the arm and repackage him as, like, the one-armed bandit, CM Punk.
I don't even think they'd let him wrestle, though. That's the problem. They
Well,
can't
they
let
had
him.
they had a one-legged wrestler a couple of years ago.
That's true. That's a very good point. No, Martin, I don't.
He's taking this semi-seriously.
I was like, wait a minute, this could work. It's like, folks, I think on that point, we're gonna end the radio show here. We'll be back after this short break. I can't believe that's how we're ending the radio segment, but that's how we're doing it. Folks, if this is your first time checking it out, thank you so much for listening to us here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Martin, is there anything you want to plug before we go over to the podcast?
No, give us €1. Stick him up. I'm the one-armed bandit.
The Patreon is over on thewrestlingrewind.com. You can find all the links there. Yes, we would very much appreciate a Rennet tier. That would be nice. Rennet is tenor spelled backwards, and you get a handwritten letter from Martin. Folks,
Handwritten backwards on beautiful scented paper, by which I mean after I write it, I'll spray it with links. Just like real quality, unique stuff here, folks.
there you go. High quality. Only the best. Only the best. Folks, we'll be back after this short break. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're not, we'll see you next week here on the Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.
Keep her lit.
You have nothing else to do on a Saturday? Do you like nerd things? Now check out Nerd to Know Basis here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, 5 PM to 6 PM, and then head over to nerdtoknowmedia.com for all of our shows as part of the Nerd to Know Media radio network.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.
Alright, everybody. That was a botch. That was a fucking Sin Cara botch. You were watching with some Sin Cara, weren't you?
Yes, oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw some of that. The different variations and the I was actually really impressed when he would jump into the ring until I found out that there's a wee trampoline there.
And that they always recorded it twice.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Hi folks, welcome back. We are the Wrestling Rewind, and we're going to talk about WWE Royal Rumble 2024. The first time, so I googled this, right?
Hold on, Darragh. Sorry, before we get into this, I'm telling you, there's potential here. So, have you ever seen Fall of the House of Usher?
No.
Okay, it's brilliant. You should watch it. It's based on a number of Edgar Allan Poe short stories.
Oh yeah, it's on my list. It's on my list.
There's a phenomenal Irish actress in it, and 3 years ago she wasn't an actress at all. She's a hairdresser, and then she had some terrible accident, like playing football, where
sorry, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing because I know where this is going. Go on.
Where her foot got infected, and she ended up having to have her leg amputated, right? But she started doing TikToks. I can't remember her name now, but she started doing TikToks, and now she's like a massive actress. So if she can become like a huge Hollywood star with one leg, Punk can wrestle with one arm. And they have precedent when it comes to surgery, because Dustin Rhodes playing Goldust offered to get actual real life breast implants, and they were thinking about it. So it's not outside the realms of possibility.
I think maybe tape. Like just tape his arm up. I think that might be a better solution than amputating the man's arm. Just, I recently discovered physiotape because after the competition last week, my side was kind of in bits. I actually started using
physiotape and Uddermint.
Yeah, I started using physiotape, and it was brilliant, and I could still train. So maybe they could just like use a bunch of that instead of like the amputation.
I think so. There's no gimmick. You can't come out and be like, "Oh, I'm the physio man." You know, to come out and be like, "I'm the one-armed bandit." Definitely. No, I think I'm on to opener.
What I'd say is that it didn't work for Zach Gowen. he just had a bad time.
Do you think that's why he did it? Do you think he only did it to stand out?
No, I think Vince probably hired him to take advantage of it. Because I mean, you're going back and watch.
Do you think Vince came in one of his like moods and just like had your man's leg cut off or like drove over his leg or something, and then the only way he's like, listen, pal, you don't need a lawyer. I'm gonna put you in the ring with Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna make a star out of you.
It's like the thing from The Simpsons. You know, it's like if you're not careful, Vince is coming back. You know? Actually, there was a good. I put it in our group chat. There was a good meme. It was like, Punk is in the hospital and he's Millhouse, and it's like Drew McIntyre is talking to like the team. He's like, you know, there's a young Punk in the hospital. I know because I put him there, and it just cuts back to it's just like, we better be careful because I hope the team wins because Drew's coming back.
I have to tell you, for all our non-Irish fans out there, the absolute it's so bizarre. The absolute best wrestling memes of the past month have all been happening on the Ted meme page on Facebook. It's so many, like, such a crossover between wrestling fans and Father Ted fans, apparently.
It is wild.
But yeah, if you don't know what Father Ted is, watch it and then get on the the Father Ted. I think they call it feck posting. But, worth it.
I can't. There's a specific wrestling one as well. I can't remember, but it is pretty good. You know, I don't know. There's a part of me that like is like disappointed as a Punk fan, but then I'm also kind of like, this is kind of hilarious at the same time because it's not that he deserves it. It's just kind of deserves it. You know what I mean?
I like, look, at the end of the day, a real life person getting hurt.
That's horrible. Yeah, you don't actually want someone getting hurt, but I mean,
but
Punk.
It took me a lot of discipline to control my Schadenfreude whenever it happened.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh my god, like it's exhausting being a fan of this guy. Like it's like, because at one point you know, because like, you love him, but then you're also like, oh my god, this is a disaster. Like just in general, like the whole AEW run is unbelievably hilarious, but also it's really upsetting at the same time because you're like, how did you throw this all away?
Yeah, and
for nothing. For
it's even worse because parts of it are sensational. Like I still think the MJF feud is one of the best wrestling feuds of the past 20 years. Maybe one of the best wrestling feuds ever.
But even the match with Samoa Joe at All In, like that should have been something where we're like, damn, that was one of the best things to happen in wrestling in years. And it's a footnote.
Them didn't hold back. Like Joe,
no, they were killing each other
and batters fools, you know.
But it's a footnote to him going in and baiting Jungle Boy for no reason. Also, okay, hold on a minute. How weak is Jungle Boy that he couldn't just hit Punk's arm and it explodes?
But he probably didn't know. Do you know, like when you go in against when you're playing Zelda, you come up against a boss and it's a huge tank or like big armored spider, and you're like, oh god, I wonder where its weak spot is. Maybe it's that huge glowing eye in the middle. You know, like maybe he didn't know about Punk's huge glowing arm.
I mean, just give him a little smack and the arm explodes. Like, I mean, Jungle Boy, come on.
Even coming into the arena in the morning, you're like a friendly punch on the shoulder. Ah, good man. Glad to see you. Ah!
It exploded again. Boom. What was that loud pop? Oh, nothing.
Huge pop.
But no, I mean, when I was Googling Raw Rumble to get the card up, right? It has the first thing that pops up is literally behind the scenes CM Punk's emotional week before the Royal Rumble. And you're like, god damn it, why are you taunting me like this? WWE.
Well, at least he, like you say, I actually think it is confirmed that he's still going to be at Mania. So
because I was like on the edge to buying tickets to go to the Rumble, and I was like, oh no, I'll wait for WrestleMania because Punk will be there. But then again, I would have been more pissed to watch Cody Rhodes win. So
yeah,
like I would have been unhinged. Like there would have been a video of them dragging me out. Like you know that video of the guy screaming at like Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Yeah. That would be me with Cody going, "Where'd you Stardust?
Fuck you! Your fucking dad and your fucking story."
So I mean, I think that was probably a good thing. But I do think
Darragh
WrestleMania.
screaming, "I didn't fly here from Ireland to watch Dusty's kid."
Well, I won't be. Look, mark my words, folks. At WrestleMania, I will be in the concession stand when Cody Rhodes is wrestling.
But what are you gonna do next year when I, like, as a kind of a social experiment, I get you tickets to WrestleMania next year, and the main event is Punk v Cody?
Oh, I don't think they do that, do you? I
As
think they do
a
that.
social experiment, I'm gonna do that just to see. Like, it'd be like when you ask a computer like a logical conundrum and it can't compute, it just starts sparking and then its head explodes.
That's such a oh god, that's such a hard choice. I really hope that doesn't happen. That'd be like,
Yeah.
you know
You
what?
don't have to worry about it.
You know what we need?
He'll get injured before he gets to
No, do you know what?
WrestleMania.
No, do you know what we need? We need that blue dot technology.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. Right. So look, I mean, I watched the Rumble. I didn't watch it live because I was prepping for the competition. So I genuinely know what you're talking about now when you're like, oh, I don't go on social media, because I mean, I don't care, but the Rumble, Rumble I will always watch live because it's the Rumble, right? So I usually don't mind about spoilers, but this is the first time I actually like cared about spoilers. And man,
It's
genuinely trying to do it.
it's so
It's
difficult.
tough.
I
Tough.
removed all wrestling from my Instagram, from my Facebook. I made sure that, like, do you know when you start up your phone, it shows you the news? That doesn't show me.
Yeah, that's what gets
I
me as
made
well.
sure everything doesn't have any. The only thing that I have wrestling on is Twitter. And
Oh
when
no,
it
but
comes,
sorry, you know what's worse, right? YouTube video notifications.
oh, YouTube, yeah,
That's
YouTube.
that's what, and like I was just like, no, what will get me is my phone, right? So I just had the iPad on, I was watching the iPad, and then I turned the phone on after it. And the first thing that popped up, I think it was Sportskeeda, and then a thumbnail from YouTube, and I was just like, fuck.
Well, like I had removed all of them, gotten rid of everything, and this was, I didn't know this was happening, but I sat down to watch Dynamite a couple of years ago because saying there's a big Dynamite and there's going to be a couple of surprises on it. So I avoided everything, and didn't see it the whole day. So I didn't get to watch it live. I had to go to work, and the next evening I sat down to watch it. I'd avoided my phone for the whole day, and just as I sat down to watch it, I got an email thinking it might be work, and opened the email, and it's, buy the new Sting AEW t-shirt. It's like, oh my god, there's literally no getting away from it.
No, I mean the only solution that I found was just, neutral platform, watch it and then that's it. It's the only way you can do it. So I mean, I woke up at 6 a.m, start stretching, watched the Rumble, and then watched the second Rumble, and then went off and competed and came back and watched the rest of it.
For anyone who doesn't know why Darragh's talking about stretching and competing, Darragh is actually a competitive burlesque dancer. So that's, whenever he talks about competitions or anything like that, that's what he's doing.
That's fair. I wish it would have been
good money in
a lot less painful. There's more money and a lot less painful. But yeah, so I mean, this was a weird. This
might
was
have better luck with OnlyFans than Patreon.
There you go. It was the only Rumble that I've had this experience with, because, like, as I said, normally I just stay up and watch it live. So it was a different kind of atmosphere. And I'll be honest with you, I was disappointed. Like, the women's Rumble actually was pretty good. We'll get to that in a second. But the men's Rumble, there were no surprises. There really wasn't, except for obviously no Brock Lesnar, but that wasn't a surprise. That was more like, oh, we can't have him. They got rid of him, and Braun Breaker did the spots. There was Pat McAfee. Apparently he didn't know that he was going to be in it. So there was one or two little, like, force de majeure, is that it? De jure?
Oh,
force majeure. Force majeure, yeah. Like, where they kind of had to make changes, but there was no, like, no RVD. There was no Kevin Nash.
He was on Dynamite this
He
week.
was on Dynamite, but that's what I mean. There was no like.
I'll tell you
oh,
what,
man,
as well,
Stu showed
for
up.
a 52-year-old fella, he can go, and he's still doing like a really high impact style.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing
He
about it
didn't
is,
get
it's like-
injured.
but like, yeah, he doesn't get injured. But like, there was nothing.
Vince, you know what it is? His
What?
whole thing is smoking weed, and Punk's whole thing is straight edge.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
that could be it.
Yeah, just needs to
could be it.
relax.
Yeah, Punk is like the most wound up guy in the world. For like,
If
Yeah.
anyone could do with a drink, it's
maybe actually, yeah, maybe. I mean, like even look at Jericho. Jericho's off there killing songs like
yeah, he's
horrific covers, and he's
50 odd. He's still
50 odd,
doing all right.
still falling down and not getting injured. You know what I mean? But yeah, look, even looking at this card, we won't go through the whole entry list, but there was no one there who was like, "Oh man, that was a shocker, that was a surprise." It was just kind of like
Yeah, well, even the
by the
surprise
numbers.
people knew were coming, like Andrade. I think everyone
Yeah,
knew.
but that wasn't a surprise. I mean, you were just waiting for him to show up, and he didn't look Andrade. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, okay, whatever.
It's. I don't like saying it about him because he is a very good wrestler, but the problem is that we're in an era now where kind of everyone's a very good wrestler, so it's
Yeah,
not
like-
really enough.
You know who was cool actually? Like Karrion Cross. They've really done a good job, like rehabilitating him.
Yeah, I didn't get it so much with him, but I thought Braun Breaker gave a
yeah.
great account of himself.
But that's because Braun Breaker got the Brock Lesnar spots.
Yeah, but he was believable in doing them. You know, you can
He
put
was,
something
yeah.
in there to do the Brock Lesnar spots. You know, and who isn't believable in doing them? But it's like,
Well, I mean, he's Scott Steiner's son, like,
oh yeah, he's got
or
the,
Rick Steiner's son. He's one of the Steiner sons. So I mean,
got the
come on,
stain
like,
mat.
he's a Steiner. Like, I don't know why you just don't call him, Steiner, Braun Steiner.
I think there was some. I think the Steiner brothers were looking. They're a bit like a what do you call the band who does Final Destination or Final Countdown?
Oh, Europe.
Europe, yeah. I think the money they look for Final Countdown is insane,
Really?
which is why Bryan Danielson has only ever used it once, because I think they almost bankrupt Tony Khan
Oh my god.
paying for it. And I think the Steiners were doing a similar thing where they were like, yeah, you can use the name, but it's going to cost you.
That's terrible.
They were like, no, that's half our Netflix deal.
They're going to hold back their own family's career.
Or Scott Steiner was like, I want a seat on the board. It's like, no, God, no. Company will be
TNA gave me a
shut
seat
down
on the
by
board.
tomorrow.
Oh man. But yeah, like when I was watching this, there was no one that I didn't expect, and there was no one that shocked me. And I think that, like, as a now, look, I know people are like, oh, the Rumble, but you watch it for those moments, even if it's a ridiculous run or something. And the Pat McAfee kind of thing was funny, but it was a massive waste. And I like Pat, I really do. I think the commentary team on Raw and SmackDown now is like better than it's been in like ever since the Attitude Era. But
Permanent now, isn't he?
He is permanent now, yeah.
Full-time commentator.
yeah, they actually
He-
managed.
He
He
kind
managed
of
to
annoyed me a little bit because, like I say, his commentary is. What I like about his commentary is that it doesn't sound like the real forced, just catchphrase spew and stuff that Michael Cole does. He does sound like a guy who's watching a thing and reacting to it. But the problem is he sounds like a guy who's watching a thing and reacting to it who has done absolutely no research whatsoever. Like, he literally just rocks up on the day and agrees to commentate. And I don't know.
I kind of like that though. I mean,
there's a
you
charm
know what it
to
is?
it.
Yeah, it's kind of like again, you haven't been baptized enough in TNA to really appreciate the Don West. I call this the Don West approach, where someone just loses their mind about what they're watching. And Don West, there was no one better than Don West at that. So, I mean, Pat McAfee is like modern day Don West. But he has to be in there with someone of the caliber of the Professor. And
who can,
Mike Tenay, Michael Cole is not.
play
So-
the other, play the other part of that.
Yeah. But look, what did you think of the Rumble? Obviously, I believe Punk was supposed to win this, and he probably was going to win it, but got injured, and obviously went to Cody. What do you think about the men's
Are we
Rumble?
taking the men's rumble specifically?
Specifically.
I think a couple of guys gave good accounts of themselves. Like I say, Braun Breaker being the main one. I think the ending is interesting. Overall, though, I didn't think as a rumble it was very good. Like you said, there was a lack of surprises. There was a lack of big pops at an entrance, when there was a certain name that you didn't expect, or maybe like a veteran who could come in and someone you haven't seen in years, but they only have to come in for a couple of minutes. Like the Rumble is so long that you can have parts of it be funny, be comedy, be just feel good. Triple H can be a little bit po-faced and overly serious sometimes. Overall though, there was no even big spots. Like a huge part of the fun of the Rumble used to be like seeing some of the ludicrous ways, like for example that Kofi Kingston would escape being thrown out, like he'd bounce off the commentator's table and jump up on the barrier and then leap back in, and like it was varied, and there was a lot to it. This Rumble, it was 30 guys came in. They did a lot of Rumble wrestling, a lot of in the corner stuff, and I don't know if it was the injury or what, but I didn't get the excitement a lot of people seem to get from the Punk Cody showdown at the end. I
think
thought
there's
the women's Rumble was better.
I think it's mass psychosis that people have with Cody.
So,
Genuinely, I think they just convince themselves that it's good.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get anything.
I don't
get
see
anything from this. People
went on about the Punk Cody promo. Not the one he did this week where he retired. I think we talked about this last week. The one where him and Cody had a face to face, and everyone's going on like promo of the decade they're talking about. And I looked it up and watched, and it was the same thing. It was Punk doing his tepid talk and Cody talking about his dad. It was the same stuff they've been doing since November.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, a lot of it comes down to taste. Maybe it's just not for me.
Yeah, look, I mean, if the room, I don't really want to say bad things about Triple H for obvious reasons, but if this is the way he books a Rumble, I don't want him to book a Rumble again, because this is very, very poor. And I don't think it was him that booked it. I think it was, funny enough, I think it was the TNA guys that actually booked it. I think Abyss and a few of the ex-TNA guys booked this. So this was really bad.
They're usually pretty good though. They've booked like a lot of like really acclaimed matches.
That's what I was surprised by. I just think, it's just a dud, and it could have been a combination of they wanted to play it really safe because of the allegations or whatever. But even if it had, I think what they've done here is, instead of having your veteran surprise spot, they fill it with NXT guys or unaffiliated. Like Andrade, they probably were like, oh, that's a surprise. It's like, no, it's not. Almost a surprise. It's like, no, it's not.
Knew that was coming.
McAfee's a surprise. No, it's not. I mean, like, again, look, this could be a lessons learned kind of thing, and it is just kind of a dud. But that being said, the Women's Rumble was the complete opposite. The Women's Rumble, I thought, and it's funny actually, it's kind of been a bit of a trend really, that the Women's Rumble in recent years has been the standout. Now look, did I know all the women that showed up? No, I didn't. A lot of them are from Raw really, and I don't really watch the women's division in Raw as closely as I probably should, and that's on me. But
a couple of NXT ones as well.
And I had no idea who they were. However, we were right. We were correct in what we said. I did say a TNA wrestler would show up.
Yeah.
I had a feeling this was probably a strong shout, and I was also right that Bayley would win. But we saw probably one of the best.
My bloody moose tip never came off. I was.
I know. I was good for you. But you weren't really too far wrong, because indeed a world champion did show up. It just so happened to be the women's champion from TNA. Jordynne Grace showed up
and gave a bloody great account of herself.
Oh, she was fantastic.
Looked fantastic.
I do have some backstage segment on this. So apparently this all came together on Saturday.
Wow.
So she was told, hey, do you want to go wrestle in the Rumble? Scott D'Amore rang her.
It's mad. Like you think with these kind of crossover deals with Endeavor and all that there would be, maybe some greater levels of linkage or cross company communication.
Well, apparently it wasn't even that. It was just like they thought it was a joke at first, and then they're like, actually, no, come on. So, because it's so unbelievable, because that door was very, not only closed, it was like welded shut. And from what Jordan said, that like, unlike when Mickie James showed up, Mickie James is already there. She was like an established star in WWE.
Yeah.
Jordynne Grace was never in NXT. She literally came from TNA. So, and the thing about it is, it's like, when I saw Jordan wrestle the first time, it was at the Impact tapings in Glasgow, and she was unbelievable. And this is before she won the belt. So she is genuinely not only a mega star, but she is like a proper prospect to watch. So
if I was TNA, I'd be re-upping her contract and giving her whatever she wants, because like WWE really put her over, and I assume put her over going a couple of years down the line we might send you an offer.
Absolutely. But I mean, it also really shows the style of the TNA's division. Like, this match specifically was worked like a TNA knockout match.
Oh yeah, she everyone she was in the ring with, she outshone them.
Oh yeah, like.
Although I noticed that they were now, I'd say they were very careful to deliberately do this. They got her out of there before Jade Cargill showed up.
Yeah, they did.
Because Jade Cargill's whole thing is that she's superwoman, monster, and all that, and like as a physical specimen, she's like unbelievable to look at. She's just pure muscle, bone, and skin. But she wouldn't look nearly half as impressive stood next to Jordynne Grace,
No, definitely not. But who did look really impressive?
Who?
Bayley, obviously, but Naomi. So she was Trinity in TNA, and she also put on a phenomenal performance. I mean, we said this when we saw Trinity wrestle. We're like, she's so much better.
Yeah, she's
so much better than she was. She's a proper star.
Do you know what? She's
probably one of my favorites. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
It's clear that in her time there, first time round, it wasn't that she couldn't wrestle. It's just that whatever the administration was there at the time had just sucked the life out of it for her. She didn't want to be there. And when she went off to TNA, she kind of rediscovered her love of it.
I don't even think it's that she couldn't wrestle. I think that she wasn't given the opportunity to wrestle.
Yeah.
Like when your whole thing is a funkadactyl, that's a tough ceiling to break out of. Going to TNA where it's an uphill battle, but it's a clean slate. She could kind of find herself. And I mean, when
it's an opportunity to wrestle. I watched the videos. I know you were there live, but I watched the videos of those TNA tapings matches she had. Now this was Impact. This is before they'd gone TNA, and there was maybe 100, maybe 200 people in the building, but she was wrestling like it was mania. Like she was going hell for leather.
Like I always liked Naomi, even in the WWE with her last gimmick. Her charisma when she'd come out with the music and stuff was always fantastic. The problem really was when she actually went into the ring. It wasn't that she was lost; it was that she didn't. It's almost like I think she discovered that gear. Where she's like, "Oh, I can actually turn that on," and boom, here we go. And that's I think what you're talking about, where it's like, she's wrestling like it's mania because she discovered, oh my god, I have this extra thing I can do. And it's great to see because she is brilliant. Like, sad loss for WWE. Sad loss for TNA. A massive gain for WWE.
Similar to who we just talked about, Jade Cargill, who also gave a terrific showing of herself.
She did. Liv Morgan did as well. Becky not so much.
Liv's back,
and she, it's this had what you expect from a women's rumble. It didn't have any like nostalgia women, for want of a better word. Like there was
no Molly Holly came running out or anything like that.
Yeah, it was more kind of like. I think if the men's rumble had a Moose, or had a, I'm not, I know you're going, Darragh the TNA. I'm like, yeah, okay. If you had that,
no, like Moose would have been like you've sort of broken the seal. You had a TNA person there. You were referencing TNA, like.
Also, that's the first time. So I mentioned last week that TNA openly mentioned WWE by name.
Yes.
Like literally saying former WWE champion, which has never happened in Impact before. This is the first time that I was beaming from ear to ear. The fact that not only did they mention TNA like not as a joke, but like as a real thing, but also putting it over as like a huge thing. I'm like, whoa! I never thought this would happen. This is crazy that WWE are like, not only is TNA a thing, but it's a huge, important thing, and here's our world champion, and isn't it great, and blah, 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 blah. Because that never happens. That was never a thing, we really are, through the looking glass here, people, But I think if the men's rumble had have had some more of this, it probably would have been a lot better for it.
Yeah, and again, a great winner in the women's rumble. Bayley, like, not only makes sense, is not only interesting going forward, but if anyone deserves it, like, absolutely deserves it, and deserves her flowers and deserves the big spot at Mania. So kind of delighted for Bayley, as well as it just being a decent rumble. I was delighted for Bayley,
and it was a great way to start as well, which is weird because it ended on such a dour
because it was
note.
all downhill.
It literally it got progressively worse as the show went on, which is so the next match, Roman Reigns, who we haven't seen in a while, defeated AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton. Now, so I did you know that Fatal 4-Way is my least liked match type?
Oh, why?
Because of this match.
Now it's your least liked match.
No, sorry. I mean, all the problems I have with Fatal 4-Way are exclusive, are on display in this match type. It's just all the good stuff gets cancelled out by the hackneyed fatal 4-ness of it. When you have a triple threat match, you can have a really good match with two lads. One of them gets injured, lad jumps back in, and they have another match. Fatal 4-Way, if it's worked the wrong way, it ends up like this, where there's someone there just to take a pinfall. It's not going to be either of the main guys. Someone's going to be well protected, and unfortunately, AJ didn't look great here. LA Knight, this did more damage than good, and Orton apparently got reprimanded for something happened in the match. I'm not too sure, but that's what I heard.
I can't remember what it would have been that he got reprimanded for.
It was going around. Apparently, something happened in the match, and they weren't too happy about it. But this was also a foregone conclusion. And is it time for Roman to lose the belt? That's the thing.
No. Time for Roman to lose the belt was a year ago. It's way past.
But I mean,
like, the second best time for Roman to lose the belt is now. The best time was a year ago.
Yeah, but like, has it gone too far? Like, when you see him walk out, is there just, you're like, okay, he's not losing.
Yeah, and especially now, like, as we get to Mania season, like you watch Roman on a pay-per-view match, during the year, SummerSlam or Survivor Series or whatever. He's not losing. Like, but
is there even but my question is there even a point for him having these matches?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When it comes to Mania season, like, you just know there's not a chance. Like, that he's like, So a foregone conclusion, a pretty bad match in and of
It
itself.
was. It really was a bad match.
Do not get what everyone sees in Randy Orton. He's the most boring wrestler I've ever seen.
Randy wrestles up. He's like Cena. He wrestles up. So he can have a great match. He just chooses not to. And if the lads in there aren't going to work, he won't work. No, that's it. I mean, honestly, God, that is what it is.
I mean,
none of the lads there wanted to work.
Experience of him is that he's very one note. That he's the RKO out of nowhere. AJ Styles, like you say, not just a gimmick, a genuinely phenomenal wrestler. Really disappointing to see him, kind of being used like that. Like it never felt like even if he had to take the pin, it never felt like he was really let off the leash to do anything awesome.
No.
And LA Knight, oh man, that look, he still has a great career and all that. Like he'll always be an upper mid guy, but I think he's missed the boat on his chance to be like a top guy.
No, he's still a top guy. But the thing about it is, when Roman Reigns is the undisputed champion, the only person who's dethroning him is The Rock. That's it. There's no one else.
Well, yeah, like look at it. So let's say, okay, you say he's still a top guy, right? Let's say Cody wins the title. Cody's not dropping it to LA Knight.
No, not yet.
So
not yet. But here's the thing:
who wins it then? Punk has to get it at some stage.
No, you know what I could see?
What?
I could see him dropping it to LA Knight for a month or two, and then going back. Yeah. LA Knight's a transitional champion.
Yeah, he could get like a really feel good kind of Kofi Kingston run.
Yeah,
maybe.
Or a Mick Foley run or something like that. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be like holding the belt as a dynasty or something like that. But he is up there. He's one of the guys who will hold the belt for a little while.
Head of the table, yeah.
No, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't get LA Knight until I went to a WWE house show and won me over immediately. Just that catchphrase.
But that is that not the problem with him? That he's a decent wrestler, but he's a catchphrase.
Yeah, but that's The Rock too.
But The Rock was a decent wrestler.
He wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Well, he was an okay wrestler, but he was 40 catchphrases and really good off the cuff catchphrases.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas LA Knight is one really good catchphrase.
Yeah, that's fair. But look, less with more, dude. It does need to be everything. I mean, no disrespect to Bray Wyatt. Everyone knows I love Bray Wyatt, but he was everything until he got in the ring.
Yeah.
And then it all fell apart.
But even Bray Wyatt, like I say, he was everything. He was more than one very catchy catchphrase.
Yeah, but that catchphrase is very catchy.
It's very catchy. It's not
even catchy. It's
super
infectious.
Fun to do.
It's infectious.
Do you know what the worst thing about it is? That once you start it, it's kind of hard to stop.
That's why I'm not doing it. That's why I have not joined in, because it's very hard to stop doing it.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the most stupid thing that happened on this show, and that's saying a lot. So the Logan Paul match with Kevin Owens for the US title. Look, I'm no fan of Logan Paul as a person, genuinely an awful human being, right? He really is. And just by his videos and what he has presented to the public as a wrestler, though, holy hell, probably one of the best out there today. Which I know, Martin, I'm sorry, but just is just a natural talent for it. It's actually really annoying.
He's okay. You do your bit and I'll do mine.
No, that's fair. And for the WWE style, it just works so well, and I don't know why it works so well. That being said, this match was abhorrent. And not just because of the finish, but just it was 14 minutes of nothing. And the ending of it really, really tested my limits as a wrestling fan. where the referees don't do this. All of a sudden looks and sees the brass knuckles and then disqualification. Doesn't go back and look for, they have the video cam where they could have done. It was just a straight up, oh no, we're
like if a referee sees you holding a chair, you won't be disqualified. Like
No.
they have to see you
do it,
swinging and hitting.
Yeah,
it's one thing that really bugs me with AEW is sometimes when someone's in like a chokehold, sometimes they'll just do UFC, like shake their hand, checking them, and then they'll call it. And then sometimes they'll do the old school, dropping the arm 3 times. And whenever they're doing the UFC thing all the time, and then they suddenly do the arm dropping thing, I'm like, well, now I know they're going to kick out of it because you only do the arm dropping thing when it's going to be like a dramatic. Just pick one. If someone's being choked out, either your house style is the UFC style, or your house style is you do the 3 arm drops.
Yeah. It's
sorry, that went off.
No. I think you hit the nail on the head there. WWE, it shoots itself in the foot here because it's like it's trying to do something that we associate with bullshit, right? And this is total bullshit. Like disqualifications, they've never done this before. Where they're like, what they normally do is, and even going back 20 years ago, nearly 30 years now, they'd restart the match.
Yeah.
Where they were like, oh, you cheated. We're restarting the match.
Yes, right? That's right. Yeah. I've seen that in a couple of Bret Hart matches.
Yeah,
actually,
that's what
he had with X-Pac.
That's what they used to do. They used to be like, okay, you cheated. We're restarting this match, right? And then what they started doing in the mid-2000s, even up to a couple of years ago, they do like a replay, because the whole thing is being filmed. They can just look at the Titantron, which makes the whole thing silly. Doing it this way, just it gets them out of a sticky situation, which is having Logan Paul lose that belt, which they obviously have him having because he's such a huge star. And it makes me sick to even say that, but it's true. And then that's what they did. And it's insulting. It's insulting to people's intelligence to do this.
Well, look, actually, something I forgot to say about the Fatal 4-Way. The other thing about it was the bloody ending. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Solo Sikoa run in. Yeah. Imagine that. Points for originality. That's only been going on for 3 years, is it?
And you think no one would be like, listen, if he runs out, you lose the belt automatically. Which, again, look, using your brain, if I was in that situation and I was challenging Roman Reigns, I'm like, okay, cool. If any interference, the belt changes.
But even like setting the kayfabe of it aside, like just say you're booking a Roman Reigns match, come up with something other than a Solo Sikoa running. Like,
but you know what happened here? What happened here was this was all. We're just getting to Elimination Chamber. We're just getting to WrestleMania.
We're not putting any thought into this.
No, like, and that's I think that's what really seeped through this. And look, it could have been the case that they had much better plans, but obviously the real world probably changed a few. But then at the same time, they're also probably like,
well,
look,
you wouldn't imagine it had too much of an effect on this match, given. Like, none of the people in it were really affected. Like,
and that's why I'm saying, I'm probably reaching. More than likely am. But I think the truth of it here is they're like, well, look, it doesn't really matter because we have WrestleMania, we have Elimination Chamber in Perth, and that's where they're actually going to do something probably a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, hold on. This is the first time that we've seen this happen. The road to WrestleMania, even though they say starts at the Royal Rumble, it really doesn't. I mean, it can, but like, I think there's been 10, 15 WrestleManias where they've took shape maybe a couple of days beforehand, which doesn't mean it's a good WrestleMania, but it has happened. I mean, The Undertaker versus Mark Henry just happened for no reason.
WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, just happened.
McMahon in every corner. They suddenly brought Mick Foley back, and
so it's
then the Big Show for no reason.
For no reason. Yeah, it's not the first time it's happened. It doesn't look. I will say, it doesn't bode well for a good WrestleMania when they do this. I will be honest with you, and that is concerning. And I mean, with WrestleMania fastly approaching, if this is kind of the way it's going, I look, if we don't have a way where it's like a way to see what the big stories are going into WrestleMania after Elimination Chamber, I'm going to be worried that this WrestleMania is going to be a bit of a dud because we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what the storylines are. Like, we already know that we are actually, here's one for you.
Oh, have we got an update on
SmackDown? We have an update on. There's 2 matches on Wikipedia right now: Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, and then Rhea Ripley or Io Sky versus Bayley. So the Royal Rumble matches are already set in, so we know they're going to happen anyway. But as far as anything else, we don't know.
Right. So regarding the Kevin Owens match, no, Logan Paul is not a good wrestler. Logan Paul shows up every couple of months. He has one match that they drill to death. Like, they set it all out, they drill it and drill it and drill it. And he goes in there with someone like a real veteran, a real worker, someone who can carry anyone through a match. And he's very athletic. I'll give him that. He's very athletic. Although even that has a problem, because then all his moves are very athletic, but they don't look like they've any weight or anything behind them. So I don't know why it's such a button for me, because it's not like he's like you were saying. Even the people who like his wrestling don't like him as a person.
I don't like his wrestling. I hate it, but it's objectively.
But
it's objectively a thing.
It's objectively a thing, yeah. But
it's like, it's not bad. That's the thing. Like, no, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, here's the thing: you're not wrong, but you're off base slightly. As in, like, he's not a good wrestler, but what he does, the wrestling that he does, is good. If that makes sense.
Like, even the stuff that he does that looks nice. My issue with it is that it doesn't look like it has any weight or impact to it,
because it doesn't. It doesn't.
I don't know why it's such a button for me. It just really bugs me when people say that he's this great. He's stuck to it so natural. He's better than half the roster. It's like, no, he's not. Literally anyone who's like halfway athletic could do what he does, because he shows up every couple of months. He has a match set out for him, drills it and drills it and drills it. It's like a guy who learns one song on the guitar. Like, there's one song with 4 chords, and he learns that song really well. Like, he can play that song better than anyone in the world. But you wouldn't call him a great guitarist, like, because he can't play anything else.
That's a fair point. And look, you're not wrong. It's annoying. That's kind of how it is. But damn, every time he shows up, man.
Yeah. Look, I can't. Some things I just can't. I can't deny that he is over. I can't deny that he gets a reaction. I can't deny that.
I wish he wasn't over.
I
wish he wasn't over. I really do. It annoys me that he wasn't over. That he's over. That he isn't, like.
And I can't deny even that most people don't agree with me. Like, a lot of people do think he is a great wrestler.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, being a great wrestler and having, like, look, even with Punk, if Punk did do the one match a year, Punk's a wrestler. Logan Paul isn't.
Even I'd say that, and I.
You're just hurt.
I am.
Punk has just hurt you. That's really okay. Has. That's okay. I have a friend.
I'll never love again.
I have a friend. She's a big wrestling fan, and she hates Punk. She calls him a cancer, and she pleads with me to not like Punk, and she's like, he's just going to hurt you again, and that's what happens. Every time Punk shows up, I buy his merch, and then he behaves like Punk, and then the cycle repeats again.
Yeah, well, maybe that's it. Maybe he goes to AEW, he sells as much merch as he can, and then goes to WWE, and then once all the WWE fans have bought it, he goes, I think it's time for some TNA Punk t-shirts. You know?
Have you noticed the same T-shirt as well?
It's just with a different wee logo in the corner.
Yeah,
It's like, I can see him in 2027 going, I'm so glad to be home in the NWA where I always belonged.
Oh God, yeah, no. I don't think that's going to happen. The poor NWA, I think, took itself out beforehand.
Are they still even kicking about at this stage?
I don't think they've ever recovered from that Samhain pay-per-view, which we should cover at some point actually, because it's real bad. It's really bad.
I'll be up for that.
Yeah, we should totally do that.
There were a couple of years ago, and I mean literally a couple, like maybe two or 3 years ago, their NWA Power show on YouTube was doing pretty well. Like nobody was fanatical about it, but people were saying that it was like fun and watchable, and it was only an hour.
Martin, you're getting very close to the point where you're like, I really wish there was an ECW show run by ECW guys, and then you're getting very close.
I'm only asking, is NWA Power, is it still going on, or?
Yeah, it's still going on, but like.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, apparently, from what I've seen, and again, we probably will look at it actually, but there is, among the fans, there's like the pre-Tyrus and the post-Tyrus. And when Tyrus became the world champion, that's when people are saying the wheels fell off completely.
It's time to go.
So, I don't know. I didn't watch it, but that's what I've heard. So we might actually watch Sound and see how bad it is. I've seen clips of it. I've seen the infamous segment, but...
This one where they were doing lanes of blow on that.
Yeah. And really, that wasn't the worst part of it. The whole...
Come on. You're NWA. People don't come here for, edgy cocaine segments.
That it wasn't even like related to anything. Father James Mitchell just did it.
Didn't even know the camera was on him.
Just that's it. But no, we might actually have to. If the news slows down, folks, we'll go back to watching older shows. But things are so mad right now that our like chill show is like 2 hours long. So.
Oh yeah, it's wild. It's like like at this stage, will we ever finish the In Your House arc?
We will eventually, when things slow down. But, Martin, I think that's a good point to leave it today. Because, again, SmackDown is on at the moment. News might break. We're not too sure. We'll update if needed. But the best thing you guys can do, there's 2 things you can do. You can let people know about the podcast. Actually, 3 things you can do. Let people know about the podcast, which would be great. Go over and give us money on Patreon, which would be even better. And if you don't want to do either of those, you can go and just like us on social media, and that would help us a great deal as well. So if you want to do any of those things, the best way to do it is go to thewrestlingrewind.com, thewrestlingrewind.com, and that has the links to everything, all of our shows, all of the social media, our Patreon, our email, all that kind of stuff, and that would help us a great deal. Martin, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, 4 things you can do. Like, go out wherever you live and just like graffiti the Wrestling Rewind, like all out, like pick like beloved national landmarks and stuff. Next time I go down to Dublin, I want to see the Wrestling Rewind sprayed across the front of the GPO. So yeah, if you can't throw us a rennet, then we'd appreciate a bit of graffiti.
Or don't do that one and just send us the tenner. Even better again.
Yeah, join the Reddit tier and we'll send you a can of spray paint.
The Reddit tier, I have to say, folks, even though the Bookly one will get you a list of your own Bookly.
Oh yeah,
the Reddit tier has it all.
Show and you can talk about them and justify them and.
Absolutely, but the Reddit tier gets it all, and you get that nice handwritten letter from Martin.
If anything, the Reddit tier gets you more than you want, really. Too much, really.
Too much. Well, the important thing is Reddit is tenor spelled backwards.
That's it.
You can never forget that. Just like Relic is killer spelled backwards.
Oh, is that where that came from? Is that where we got the idea for that?
Yeah.
Sensational. You learn something new every day, folks.
The segment was so taxing on Martin's psyche that he blacked it out from his memory that we did last week. Oh, man. Oh, Rennet. There you go. Well, folks, that has been the Wrestling Rewind. I've been Darragh Connor, from Martin Herty and from Dave Stevens, who we'll have on the show around WrestleMania time.
He's like Punk now. He only shows up for WrestleMania.
I mean, that's fair. You know, at least he won't get injured for WrestleMania.
I don't know. You're heading over there to see him. You get a few pints and yeah, start wrestling.
Just watch the triceps. Folks, we'll talk to you next week here on the Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.
Good lad.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.